Juvenile Racing 2025, July the 12th, the first of our Juvenile Updates all the way through Future Stars Friday 2025 at the Breeders' Cup. Today we're going to talk about the recent Sanford Stakes winner, Obliteration, Ewing, an impressive maiden first-time starter at Saratoga. Where Art Thou, Romeo, a $1.7 million horse and training sale purchase. Dr. Agne, the son of Lady Eli, and Chopsticks from the first crop of essential quality. Of course, our racing updates through the Breeders' Cup brought to you by RaceOracle.AI. Make sure to check out their website. It's a way to take a futuristic look at horse racing insights, constantly learning. RaceOracle.AI. Let's go to the rundown of the Juvenile Update, the Sanford Stakes. Let's start off with Obliteration. Now 2 for 2 after winning the Sanford Stakes impressively by over 8 lengths. Here he is drawing away. Of course, Obliteration had broke his maiden at Churchill Downs, but the Sanford Stakes was all Obliteration, of course, trained by Steve Asmussen. Now let's go back to that maiden race, his debut at Churchill Downs, another runaway effort, ended up winning by over 7 lengths in that one. Wins the maiden race, wins the Sanford Stakes, and trained by Steve Asmussen. Most likely, we're going to see Obliteration next. Closing day at Saratoga in the Hopeful Stakes. So Obliteration pointing possibly for that Hopeful Stakes. And then Steve Asmussen can do a couple of things. Sometimes he goes to Churchill, sometimes he goes to Keeneland for the Breeders' Futurity. But Sanford definitely getting the stakes horses off to a runaway victory by Obliteration. Now, a first-time starter, bet down to 3 to 5 last week at Saratoga. First race of the day, trained by Mark Casse. Ewing draws off to the big victory. This one is out of the Breeders' Cup Classic winner, Nick's Go. Of course, Nick's Go won some big races, got better as his career got going, and was always on the front end. Euing winning this one for Mark Casse. Big win that day. Now, they've got a couple of options. They talked about the Hopeful, but it looks like right now, Euing could be going to the Saratoga Special, wants to get maybe an extra race into them, and then they can decide where they want to go after that. The Champagne, you go to the Churchill, and you've also got the Keeneland races as a possibility for Ewing winning first time out. Dr. Agne winning on Friday, a winner at Saratoga. Now, this race was originally scheduled for the turf. They moved it to the dirt, and it was Dr. Agne coming from just off the pace. You know, he's bred by Lady Eli, champion turfer. Into Mischief is the sire. Of course, he does better on dirt horses and with horses that are at 2 early on in their 3-year-old year. 3 Kentucky Derby winners now for Into Mischief. But Dr. Agne looks a little bit more like a turf horse. We'll see. This race was scheduled for the turf, so he beat a lot of horses that were pointing more for the turf. But Dr. Agne coming from off the pace to pick up that win. We'll take a quick break. Our sponsor, RaceOracle.AI, and then some more juvenile action.
The future of horse racing is here, and it's powered by AI. Meet RaceOracle.AI, the first platform built to outsmart the odds with machine intelligence that processes millions of data points and performance variables. Trained on over 600,000 races and learning from every race it sees, the Race Oracle model evolves constantly to give you sharper picks and smarter bets. With real-time Kelly bet calculations and a user-friendly interface, Race Oracle finds the best value in every race. RaceOracle.AI, the edge you've been waiting for.
The big news this week, a 2-year-old in training sale and an impressive winner of the Bashford Manor Stakes, Romeo. He went for $1.7 million. That is an all-time record. Romeo brings $1.7 million in the Fasig Tipton July sale. Now, Romeo, 3 starts, 2 wins. Let's go back to that Bashford Manor. Big victory that day. Got a little bit of pressure at the top of the stretch. Put away that foe, goes on to the victory. Now, he's a Maryland bred, but Romeo, purchased by foreign interests, and it looks like he's going to maybe have a summer campaign with Steve Asmussen. We'll see what that entails. Maybe a race in New York, Champaign, some of the other options, Saratoga, the Hopeful Stakes. But Romeo, $1.7 million purchase earlier this week. Here he is in the walking ring before the sale. Summer campaign, and then the ultimate goal, Dubai in 2026 for Romeo. And Romeo now 2 wins in 3 starts. Earlier this month, we saw chopsticks from the first crop of Essential Quality. Of course, Essential Quality won the Belmont Stakes, ran in the Breeders' Cup Classic, actually losing to Knicks Go. Churchill Downs, this one, chopsticks winning the Philly, and Essential Quality has a pretty big crop of foals, so we'll see if they do well in the 2-year-old races or if they take a little bit more time to develop and develop next year as the 3-year-olds. But I thought Chopsticks was a nice looking filly, first time out, trained by Brad Cox. Now the stakes races coming up for the 2-year-olds, we've got the Saratoga Special on August 2nd, the Adirondack for fillies on August 3rd, Ellis Juvenile and Debutante, then we've got the Spinaway and the Hopeful Stakes to close out the Saratoga racing action. Meanwhile, we're also going to have the Del Mar Debutante and the Del Mar Futurity. The nominations are out for those. Race previews we've got coming up, brought to you by RaceOracle.AI. Haskell Stakes, the Vanderbilt, the Jim Dandy, the Travers, Painting That Canoe, the Whitney Stakes, the Test Stakes for 3-year-old fillies, the West Virginia Derby, and the Pacific Classic. Plus, we've got Keeneland and Churchill Downs as we race you up to the Breeders' Cup 2025. What did you think of the Juvenile Winners? What about Ewing, Obliteration? Any comment on him? What about Chopsticks? Where do you think Romeo's going to go? Leave a comment, share, and subscribe with horse racing fans. The Breeders' Cup prospectus, data and information you need for the Breeders' Cup. Get first in line to be notified when that's available. The link is in the description for the Breeders' Cup prospectus to sign up. RaceOracle.AI bringing you our race previews and our juvenile updates. Make sure to check out their website. And remember, D. Wayne Lucas always said, people have opinions, horses have the facts.